Hey, what's up YouTube? So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to create a very simple Docker image. The image is going to include CentOS or CentOS. We're going to go ahead and install Apache. We're going to run the Apache service, and then we're going to go ahead and build the image. And then we're going to go ahead and run a container of that image. Just to give you a little info about the Docker image, every Docker image includes an instruction along with an argument, and those work in layers. So the good thing about it is, for example, if you have a Docker image that has 4 layers, um, and you made a mistake or it just errored out on layer number 2, so you go back to your Docker image, fix it, and then when you rebuild or build uh, or run the Docker build again, it's gonna start off where it left off. So that's the good thing about it. Um, Other than that, you're gonna need. Well, you're not gonna need this specific version, but in my case, I do have Windows 10. I'm running the latest Docker version. You can use any text editor that you want. I'm using Sublime. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, I saved the file to my desktop. I called it my first Docker image, well, underscore image. So the first thing we're gonna do is have the from instruction. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna use CentOS. The next thing is we want I'm just gonna go ahead and run a update, and then I'm gonna go ahead and stop Apache. So in this, I'm gonna show. I believe this is gonna error out because it does require user input to, like, if you wanna like install additional packages or proceed. Uh, so it's gonna pull CentOS, and then it should fail on the update or installing Apache. And I'll show you guys what I mean. So now we wanna run a command, which in this case we're gonna start the Apache service. We're basically starting it on the foreground. Oops. There. Do that. Save the file. Now let's make sure Docker is running. It is. So in order to build the image, we do Docker build period for looking in the current directory. I'm gonna dash T to tag it. We're gonna basically specify the name. You can name it anything you want. Dash shift, you're specifying the location of the Docker image file. So as you can see, my text editor window, the name for that is first Docker underscore image. We gotta name it. And just hit enter. It's building. So it pulled CentOS. Now it's running the yum update. And you see there it error out. Is this okay? Yes or no? Operation aborted. So it needs the dash Y. I'm gonna just add it just in case I need it. We do save it again. So the next time I run this is gonna be fairly quick because it's gonna leave off where I left off. And basically, that's what I mean by layers. So the first time I ran it, it errored out on the Yum update. Second time I ran it, it basically started where I left off. So it seems it's finished. So to view your images, Docker images, and as you can see, that image has been created. Um, so for Docker containers, whenever you do a Docker run to start a container, a service or process has to be running, or else that container is just gonna exit out, or it's not gonna be running. So in this case, this is what this is a command, or because of this HTTPD service starting up, um, this is what is gonna make the container stay up and running. Because if it doesn't have this, and if it creates the image, then I'm gonna go ahead and run the create a container. If I don't have this, then um, the container would just exit out. But in my case, I do have that running process. So whenever I go ahead and create a container, it's gonna stay alive. So we do a Docker run. I'm gonna do a dash D, which is uh, to be run in the background. We're gonna I'm gonna do a copy paste, or you can just type it in manually of the Docker image you want to use. So that's it. In order to view your running containers, you do a Docker PS, and it's not running. It's probably dead. You can see it's dead. Oh, make sure I got my. Oh, there it is. This is where I messed up. Has to be the foreground. So that's the next thing. Make sure you got all your commands properly typed in. So you gotta go back. Okay, I'm gonna expand this window to make it more clear. So we do a Docker S. Sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and just remove this stopped container. So Docker RM is to remove. I'll go back. As you can see, it's been removed. So I'm gonna just hit the up arrow key to run the Docker build again. Okay. And that's another example of the layers. As you can see, this time it went fairly quick. Um, it just basically goes back if there's any um, changes to it. It just, I believe it just starts up there. It doesn't go back to the beginning. Uh, and I am right. It doesn't go back to the beginning. It just goes back to where there's a change. It just starts from there. Okay. So we're gonna do it again. Docker run dash D. My first Docker image is we're gonna run it run create a container from the Docker image that we created, or the image that we created. Now the container should be alive and running. As you can see, that's where I'm gonna go ahead and minimize my PowerShell. That's where I messed up. I forgot the end, so it was in running that service in the foreground. So essentially, that's it. Uh, that's how you create a very simple Docker image. I mean, image and a container. And as you saw, my container stayed alive. Um, and that goes back to the thing I said before, because initially when I had the typo, it didn't start up the Apache service or HTTPD service. Um, and because it didn't start it, when I went ahead and created the container, it didn't detect a service process running, so the container just exit out. Let me go ahead and go back to the window. Where is it? Yeah, the Docker PS dash A. It's gonna list all containers whether they're running or not. So in the next video, I'm gonna actually start the. I'm gonna go ahead and create a container again, but this time we're gonna port over the port so we can actually test out the uh, web the web server is alive. So that's gonna be the next video. Other than that, that's pretty much it.